Good evening, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Soul Work. We appreciate each and every one of you watching us and calling us as well. I'm your host, Jeni Cousins, and this is my co-host, Miss Kimberly Buckler. And on tonight's episode, we have a very special guest indeed. He's going to be staying the full show, and we're not going to be taking any calls because this man is very well known, and he can talk for hours and hours and hours. And even just having him on for a half hour, you know, it's not even enough time. And I'm very grateful and truly honored to have him on the show. His name is Manfred Lukas, and he's done a lot of shamanic work for the past 28 years. And he's going to be sharing with us all about power animals and totem animals, and about the workshops that you do and everything you need to know about his work as best as we can in 30 minutes. And thank you, Manfred, for coming to the show. It's such a pleasure. And before we start, Manfred has given both Kim and I a buffalo necklace. A buffalo tooth necklace. And it was funny today because actually on Facebook today I posted a video. It must have been, I don't know, about 4 o'clock, between 3 and 4 o'clock on buffaloes. And I had no idea he was going to give us this. I was really drawn to it. So thank you for coming in. It must have been that energy you were sending me or something I was picking up on. Yeah. Something magical was happening here. Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
So in all the years that I've done shamanic journeying for other people, I've learned a lot, enough to know that I know very little. But what I do know, I'm trying to share with you tonight. And since the field is so incredibly large, I had to really force myself to pick a topic that I can give you a whole package on, albeit very abridged and very much sort of condensed. But I feel from my work that most people are extremely interested in the whole topic of power animal, or animal helpers, animal spirit helpers, animal spirit guides. It goes by so many designations, but they all mean the same thing. And why did I pick that topic? First of all, because I feel most people are most interested in it. But secondly, it has the most incredible impact on people once they discover everything that is real about power animal. And I'm afraid to say that most of the modern day literature on power animal really doesn't cover the essence of it. Right. I want to present some stuff tonight that gives you some meat and some bones to chew on and actually get some usefulness out of it.
Excellent.
And so starting out with the very reason why we as humans, at the moment of conception, that's when we start our physical life, get connected with that power animal. And what we're actually getting connected with is the universal energy pool that belongs to that particular animal species. So I'm connected to buffalo.
Okay.
That's why I brought you buffalo too.
Yes.
And so I'm connected to all of the energy in the universe that serves buffalo. And it is a personalized source of energy that every human is then connected to.
Right.
Now, why do we need this as humans? Because we differ in one particular respect to everything else that lives. Any idea what makes us different?
No. Our energy.
Self-awareness.
Okay, that makes sense.
Self-awareness. Humans are the only ones that have self-awareness. What that does to us is make everything about you as an individual unique and individually different from everyone else.
True.
So where does science stop? With your DNA.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's actually physical stuff that they look at to basically validate the fact that you are unique as an individual. Shamanism doesn't stop there.
No.
Your life force energy is also unique.
Yes.
And that's unique for you as well, for me as well. Now, if I talk to you and interact with you, and use Manfred energy in my talking, I'm actually projecting Manfred energy in your direction.
Okay.
And your body says, this is not my energy. I cannot let it into my system. And so I'm actually forcing you to use some of your energy to put up a defensive shield against Manfred energy.
Well, why would you put up a defenseless
Because
shield?
it works the same way as organ transplantation. Because your body wants to reject my energy. It's the wrong gas in the wrong tank.
Right, I see. But then if
Okay.
you're receptive and you're open to hearing
it's-
somebody's energy and to be a part of somebody's energy.
But it is still a foreign energy in your body,
Right,
and your body
true.
doesn't like it. Okay? So we are actually energy handicapped as humans.
Right.
Because any human interaction using human energy actually ends up being an energy war.
Right.
And that is incidentally also the primary reason why initially very loving relationships between two people over time fall apart. Because you get tired of this energy war.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And so the obvious solution is act selflessly. Okay? But you need selfless energy in order to act selflessly.
Right.
Where do you get it? Your animal totem.
Okay.
Because
That's
all
interesting.
animals
Yeah.
do not have self-awareness.
Right.
As a result, their energies are selfless energies. And so my buffalo energy does not have consciousness of self.
Oh, okay. Be similar like ego.
Yeah, they don't have an
An
ego.
ego,
And so
yeah.
it's egoless energy.
Okay.
And so to counteract our handicap as humans, you get your own tank full of gas of Kim energy. But the universe also connects you with an animal's energy pool that gives you a limitless access to selfless energy.
Okay.
That's why we need that as humans. We need that selfless energy pool that is specifically a gift to us as individuals.
Right.
And so you probably have your own animal.
Oh,
Nobody
yeah.
has told you about
Always,
what it
yeah.
is. Same there, okay? And so that is the main reason. How is this energy accessible? Everything in shamanism, as far as energy management goes, is done with intent. All I have to do is think of my buffalo, and I'm accessing its energy.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Right.
So how
Okay.
do we find out who our power animal is then?
My only way of finding out is going into this shamanic journey, which is an information gathering modality. And I ask in that journey, what's Kim's power animal? And I simply get the answer for you.
Oh, okay.
And I do that for everybody that comes to my place and wants it, okay? Now there are other adjunct reasons to that power animal energy connection. Both very important. The one works in direct proportion to how much you train yourself using that selfless energy.
Right.
Because if you use it all the time, you literally surround yourself with that energy. You draw yourself right into the
Right.
middle of that energy
Right.
pool. You know what that does to you? Protects you.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no poison arrows that can
Yeah,
come at you.
exactly. Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah.
Okay, but it can only
Yeah.
do that job for you if you use that energy.
Yeah. Always.
If you don't use it, don't get yourself into a mud hole up to your neck and then all of a sudden remember that you have a power animal and say, please come and help me. The animal will say, tough luck. You don't even give me the time of the day usually,
Yeah.
and now you want my help? I don't think so. Okay.
Yeah.
The second thing is really also an incredible thing, and you know what? It's on automatic pilot. It works its magic on you even if you've never heard of the concept of power animal. Because the universe has made that intimate connection between you and that animal's energy pool. And you know what? It's the animal's energy pool that defines the animal. Like buffalo energy can only produce buffalo. Okay? Now, because of that connection, your animal's energy is constantly trying to impact you and rub off on you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
In more ways than one.
And so what happens is that your true intended nature for this lifetime should be actually a mirror image of the animal.
That's interesting.
And you know what? Every human being, from the moment they're born, get actually taken off track with themselves. And you know who the first culprits are? Very loving and very well-meaning parents.
Yeah.
Because in a family setting, every member of the immediate family is connected to a different animal. Okay? And so mom wants to operate in her comfort zone. If she sees you doing something that doesn't fit her comfort zone, she'll say, Kim, stop doing that, it upsets me. Okay? And so we already train little kids from little on not to act as themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, we're being pulled on track with what parents like. And so by the time you hit your late teens, there are 24 adults that have had a go at you. Don't do it this way, do it my way, do it this way, do it that way, do it whichever way, but not, you know, the way you would want to do it.
You got to be a pretty stubborn child to...
And that's where child stubbornness comes in, because they are really only getting angry and stomp their feet when you're trying to change who they are.
Yeah.
Okay?
The rebellious side, Kim.
Yeah. And so literally, that is the determinant of you. Now, as humans, unfortunately, we have the power to override that. But if you do, here's a formula. You can only achieve the maximum possible in your lifetime if you're totally and completely true to yourself.
Yes, definitely.
And if you are, everything flows.
Yeah.
Everything flows effortlessly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're off track with yourself, the more you're off track with yourself, the more you get into a pure survival mode.
Yeah.
Every ounce of energy that you expend is just meant to keep you alive. And you know, that's not the way we're supposed to live as humans.
No.
Okay? And so my advice to people, once they get to know what their power animal is, besides get busy and start using their energy. Because it's not only to your benefit, to everybody else that you get in touch with. You're interacting with them selflessly. But secondly, start a serious lifelong research on the animal that you're connected to. And the purpose of that research is supposed to be for you to discover and celebrate what you're still on track with yourself. But correct what you're off track.
Because I talk to like a lot of different animals, but the ravens especially, like they're by far, I get so many messages from them, and everywhere I go, they're there. If I need a message, I'll call upon a raven and I'll get it.
So it could very well be that you're actually connected to raven energy,
very much.
but I won't know until I journey for you.
Yeah.
Because there is this other thing that if you're engaged in things that you need to do or you feel you need to do, and your animal doesn't have the best gifts to support you in that, your animal can call in helpers. And so you could have more than one helper in different situations. But your character animal is always setting your personal nature. Okay? And so this is where most of my frustration comes in, because most New Age literature is describing animals as being spiritually this, that, or another thing, rather than to give you the actual factual information about the animal. And so my advice to people always is, get hard, factual information about your animal. Anything less is not going to do it. Okay? Where do you find that? Firstly, direct observation, because that's unpolluted. It hasn't been filtered through some other human beings and their opinions. Now, not everybody can study their animal. Most of us live in cities, and you know, we're restricted to very few animals that live in the city. So the next best place is to go the scientific route, because animal behaviorism is a graduate level discipline. Okay? And the thing that is stressed with animal behavior education is sneak into the animal's natural habitat, make yourself as little visible as you can, don't disturb the animal, just observe, 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 and give us the facts, okay? And so my advice then too is get busy with the bigger picture things. For instance, the thing that influences most of us in our energy expenditure is working against our natural rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay, and so every animal species has a natural rhythm. Okay? If you can tune in 100% to the animal's natural rhythm, I swear that you'll never work another day in your life. Because everything will just flow.
Yeah.
It'll just flow.
Yeah, when things are
okay?
flowing, it's on track.
And if you're really, really slugging it out,
Yeah.
I can guarantee you you're 100% against the natural rhythm of your animal.
It's to have the trust and faith too, and
Yeah, but also the know-how. Okay,
Yeah.
my oldest son is linked to great horned owl energy. They're night active and sleep during the day. As long as he was trying to make a living working during the daytime, his health was going steadily downhill. He
interesting.
didn't even reach 40 before he had serious signs of burnout.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah. True.
But shifting then to nighttime work, within less than a year he fully recovered.
Wow.
Okay?
That's
Oh,
great.
wow.
Isn't that
Okay.
interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, lucky you if you're connected to the day active one. But every day active animal still has its own rhythm.
Yeah.
For instance, the raven gets up in the morning, sets a certain pace, and can hold that pace throughout the day without interruption. A fox, 20 minutes focused attention, 10-minute off switch.
Yeah.
20 minutes focused attention, 10 minutes off switch.
True.
Okay? And if you don't hold that pattern, if you work 1 hour straight through, at the end of the hour you upset more of what you've done initially than doing anything useful anymore anyway. So you really need to find out what your natural rhythm is, and your animal will give you that.
Okay.
Now there are other animals that are seasonally impacted. We all know about the bear. They're just
Yeah.
ending their hibernation,
Yeah,
right? Now if you're a bear and you go to mainstream health and
Right.
say, I am always down in energy during the winter,
Yeah.
can you help me?
Yeah.
The doctor will say, you've got a seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah. Here's some medication.
And I'm
Yeah.
saying, you know,
That's
you
crazy.
doctor have a disorder in
Yeah.
not knowing what you're talking about, okay?
Okay, that makes sense.
So
yeah.
really, if you are a bear, you should actually limit your work in the winter, preferably to 3 hours a day.
Oh, my cousin would be
midday.
happy to hear
No?
that.
11 to 2. You can handle that because you don't have to hibernate as a human.
Yeah.
But in the summer, you can have a job and a half.
Right.
Okay, because bears just get by on naps in the summer. Okay? And so those are examples, right? So get on track with your animal's natural rhythm of life. Okay?
Okay.
It's enormously impactful to your general health and well-being and your achievements. Okay?
Very much so.
The next thing you should look at is the animal's social makeup. Social is so big in our society. Everybody got to be social, 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 social. Okay, we don't all fit in the same box, not any more than animals do.
No.
So if you're connected to an animal like wolf, who absolutely needs a pack for its very survival,
Yeah.
you're a team player, and you want to have that work environment where everybody is a team player.
True.
You can hardly do a single job by yourself without having somebody look over your shoulder and watch you.
Drive me crazy.
Okay? And then there are individual
Yeah.
workers, okay? And individual workers say, I know what, when, how, and where to do. Get out of my way and stay out of my way
Yeah.
and let me do it. okay?
Exactly.
Now, if you have a kid like that, a parent will say, wow, my kid is turning out into an antisocial human being. Got to enroll him into team sports and in team activities and so on. Again, you're screwing up your kid. Totally. Okay? Because they will even lose interest in sports, which every kid has.
True.
Because you're pushing them into the wrong kind of sports.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So lay off. Okay?
That's
Let them
interesting.
find their own way.
Oh, absolutely. You have
And,
to.
you know,
Yeah.
And so those things all come out just as, you know, you can't change them. There are
Okay.
individual aspects of sociability. For
Right.
instance, we also value still partner relationships, hopefully permanent, although that's less and less the case in our
Right.
society. There are some animals, again raven, they mate for life.
Yeah.
And if that falls apart on a raven, they're so incredibly emotionally injured through that that they don't want to have another partnership.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
Takes a lot of trust.
Well, and you sometimes will end up with partners, but you will be very careful not to let it grow to the emotional level where you would get hurt again. So it's really not an emotionally deep kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's very real.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
very real.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's interesting.
So the last thing that really is very impactful too is food. Keeps us alive. Okay, one of the basic necessities. You know that you can come up with your perfect diet without any diet books or anything else.
A raven?
A raven or you know anyone else. Okay. Here is the thing: the human body has evolved as an omnivorous animal, if you like. Okay, so you need the whole food spectrum as a foundation of your diet.
Right.
Then whatever your animal eats becomes a major food group in your diet.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
And so the raven is a pure meat eater. And if you are a raven, you should have probably meat at breakfast, lunch, and supper.
Proteins.
But if
Is that protein or is that meat?
animal protein.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, animal protein.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Now, I'm a buffalo and grazing animal.
Right.
And I value greens and fruit and so on more, nuts and what have you. But one meal of the day I have to have meat.
Okay.
And my human body demands that. And so from that point of view alone, any diet that takes a major food group out of the diet is not the smartest thing to do. I could get by with vegetarianism or veganism for a lot longer than a raven could. I would start showing health problems after 2 or 3 years. A raven would start showing health problems after 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
And you know when that kicks in?
Wow.
With a pregnant woman.
Oh, I'm not far from.
No, but it kicks in then, and it's right in your face. Because what happens with pregnant women food-wise?
Right, I see,
They
okay.
have food cravings that normally they don't have.
That's
Okay?
true, yeah.
And it's more pronounced the greater the difference, dietary difference is between you and the fetus.
Right,
Remember that connection is made at the point of conception.
Right.
Okay? And so the easy way is follow your food cravings, because that way you satisfy the diet of both, the fetus and yourself. Okay?
That's interesting, yeah.
But if you're hard-nosed and object to that and stick with your diet, the fetus gets very unhappy and says, this is not my food. You know what it does to you? It makes you throw up your food.
Yeah.
Morning sickness.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And its whole purpose is to basically get you to experiment with food that you can keep down.
Okay.
Now the fetus is happy.
True.
Okay?
That's right.
All
Because
right?
I remember I always used to have, when I was pregnant with my son Shane, I always had to have peanut butter toast in the morning. And I wasn't a big peanut butter, but the protein in it, I'd have to have 2 pieces of peanut butter toast and a glass of milk.
But it's basically grain and nuts.
Protein,
and so, you know, it would be probably connected to an animal that is not a meat-eating animal. Okay? And so that works itself out that way. Now, the most objectionable alternative is that you can go to doctor and get prescriptions to suppress your need to throw up. Makes the fetus very, very unhappy because number one, it doesn't get its own food.
Yeah.
Number two, it gets drugged on top of it.
Yeah, I don't like medications. No.
You know what that does to you? It actually makes you flirt with early birth, with premature birth.
Right.
Because the fetus gets fed up and says, this is not the right environment for me, I'm out of here.
True, yeah.
Okay? And probably also will have already dietary kind of health problems. Okay? So we've got,
5 minutes.
you know, basically those are really the highlights I wanted to cover. And so, you know,
That's amazing.
food and social sort of character, and you know the actual sort of routine, day routine, when you're up and active and when you're resting.
It makes so much sense. It really, really does.
And
you know?
I've seen people's lives totally turned around. You know, I recently had an otter actually from as far away as Moscow, Russia.
Wow.
And she was an otter. Otter is very playful and very, you know, interested in everything and always wants to have fun and joy in life. You know what her life's work was as? She was now in her early 40s.
Right.
An accountant, a bookkeeper.
Oh my goodness.
And she heard that she was an otter, and she says, I've thought about it for many years already, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to quit my job. A year later, she shows up for a follow-up session. She's got relatives here and visits them.
Yes.
And she brings me a picture and she says, I'm creating art now, and it's my whole life. And I'm good at it enough that I'm actually close to making the same living that I did doing accounting work.
I bet.
And it totally changed my life.
I bet.
Her heart was a lot happier, that's for
Everything.
sure. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Everything, okay?
Definitely.
And so really, I find that you can improve your whole life pattern and everything by number one, using that selfless energy.
Right.
Because it will never make you feel burnt out at the end of the day. You conserve your energy and probably end up living 120 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, definitely.
The second thing is be like your animal. Okay? And study the real factual information packages.
Right.
I actually recommend to people in my workshops and individually, stay away from New Age literature. Go the scientific route. And once you find one, they all list references at the end of their presentation, and that opens a veritable floodgate of information.
I bet. Because even just what you've told me even so far with, you
I'm
know,
just,
it makes sense
I
completely.
hit just the highlights. I gave
Oh,
you,
no, I know.
I gave you the abridged version of the Reader's Digest version.
No, exactly, because it goes really into depth, and I mean, you know, you could talk about this because your workshops do you teach like a one-day workshop, or is it like
weekend,
or is
two-day weekend workshop, and I've just finished planning my 93rd workshop.
That's just insane.
And so
but I can imagine. I know he's so busy, everybody. He didn't even want to, you know, let us know really how to con because he's so busy. But I'm going to go. I'm taking a workshop, and you know I am.
Well,
this little raven's going to fly right over there.
Okay. Well, most people enjoy the workshops.
Oh, it'd be great.
Learn a lot,
it's great. I definitely will do that. And I mean, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show, Manfred, and I really, really appreciate you coming to the show. And this is why we didn't take any calls, because there's so much information that you know we wanted to share with you all. You know, like we normally take calls, but it's just every now and then when I have somebody you know that I want to really get a lot of information out to help the viewers, and I get people ask me, you know, are we going to talk about this subject or that subject, and you know, this is why I go searching for certain people.
Well, I hope I gave your viewers something to chew on.
I definitely learned a lot today.
Yes.
Really, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And yes, for the necklace too. This. Wow, I'll keep it forever.
Well,
but I must have felt that buffalo energy because it came in so strong, and that's why I posted that video. And I didn't know why. I'm like, it has to go up, and I was so drawn to it, and it was stronger and stronger. Even today, earlier, I was listening to a lot of like native energy music and such like that. But again, we're at the end of the show already, and thank you again, Manfred, for coming in, and I appreciate Kim bringing you in, and we'll definitely at another time, of course, have you on again to talk about a lot more
the other aspects,
Calgary. And next Wednesday night, Calgary, don't forget that we're going to be taking calls, and we want to thank Shaw Cable or Shaw TV, and see you all next Wednesday night on Soul Work. I'm your host, Jeni Cousins. Thank you.
Thank you both.